All right, well, in this brief video, my plan is to simply log into my primary ISE and implement its certificate, log into my secondary ISE, implement its certificate, and then put them into a distributed deployment. So I'll be using my ISE, my primary at 10.10.0.200. We'll go ahead and add 10.10.0.201 as my secondary ISE here. We'll connect into that. And then we'll connect to our certificate authority here. And use it to issue the ISE certificate. Okay, so while that connects, I'm going to come on over here and log into ISE. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and download the CA certificate. Okay, yep, we know this is an eval, so we're just going to say OK there. ISE 1.3, the license warning shows up and doesn't give you an option to get rid of it. I'm not going to run the setup. What I am going to do is go in here to Administration and Certificates. And if you're not familiar with ISE 1.3 yet, you can see over here on the left-hand side that the certificate management has changed slightly. Okay, so I'll download the CA certificate. We'll just go ahead and save that certnew.cer. Click OK there. Come on back over here. So what I'm going to do is go to my trusted certificates, and I'm going to go ahead and import. I'll browse to that certnew.cer. That'll be in my downloads right there, certnew.cer. And this is the AD cert. And I'll trust this for client authentication and syslog as well. I could trust this for authentication of Cisco services. I'm not going to do that. And that's probably good enough. Let's go ahead and submit that. And while we've got that cert, let's go ahead and drop it into our secondary ISE. So let's log in there. And we'll do the same thing. Okay, I'm not worried about the license. I understand this is an eval. Let's go to certificates, trusted certificates. Let's go ahead and import certnew.cer from my downloads. Trust it for client authentication and drop it in there. Okay, the next thing I need to do is create a certificate signing request. So this has been moved. It used to be under local CA certificates. Now it's under certificate signing requests. I'm going to generate a CSR. And from here, certificates will be used for, and I can define what I'm going to use these for. And so for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is going to be used for admin. And I'm going to generate the CSR for ISE 1. And it'll drop my FQDN there. That's just fine. My organizational unit is training. My organization is global config. We are in California. And the country code is US. And if I had a subject alternative name to plug in here, I could do that. I think I'm going to leave the key length at 2048. I don't recall if my server was configured for 2048 or 1024, but let's go ahead and generate that CSR. Okay, so it's been generated. I can go ahead and export it from here. So ISE1admin.pem is what that's going to be called. I'll export that. And let's go ahead and do that same thing. Of course, my Mac wants to automatically import that, but I don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and go over to ISE 2 here, generate a CSR. Going to be used for admin. We're going to generate it for this node, ISE 2. OU was training. Organization was global config. State is California. Country is US. Go ahead and generate that. Go ahead and export it. Save file. I shouldn't have had it automatically open before. But we've got ISE 1 and we've got ISE 2. All right, so now what I'm going to do is come over here to Active Directory. I'm going to hit our home option here. And while that takes us home, I'm going to go ahead and open this up with another app. Just open it with Sublime Text. Copy the contents of the certificate, come back over here to Active Directory. We're going to request a certificate, Advanced Certificate Request. Paste in that request and change it to a web server certificate, and we'll submit it. While that's running, I can go ahead and come on back over here and open up ISE 2 in Sublime Text. Copy that request. We'll use that in just a moment. We can see in the background here that our certificate is ready to be downloaded, so we'll go ahead and download that certificate. This is also going to call it certnew.cer, so we've got to be aware of that. I'll go ahead and save it. Come on back over here to ISE number 1. And on ISE number 1, we're going to go ahead and select our CSR that's pending. Click Bind Certificate. We're going to browse to that new certnew.cer. And I want to make sure that this is actually the one I want. So it should be certnew 2 CER that I'm looking for here. Let's just make sure. That looks like it should be it. But let's just do it like this. Drop that there. There's our certnew. So we're going to go and open that. And we're going to call this ISE 1 cert. And I'll go ahead and submit it. It's going to cause the application service to restart. That's okay with me. Do the same thing over here. So let's click back to home. I have the other CSR copied to my clipboard. Request a certificate, advanced, paste in the CSR, change it to a web server certificate, submit it, download the issued cert, save that, come back over here to ISE 2. Under ISE 2, select our CSR. Let's click Bind. Let's browse. And now we're going to select certnew 3 actually, and this is going to be ISE 2 cert. And we'll submit that. And we know that it's going to go ahead and restart. And at this point, we wait. Okay, so let's go ahead and change our URL now to ise1.gcts.local. Okay, we can see that we got our web page with no certificate issue. Log in there. We're going to come back over here. This one's already updated the certificate and changed it to an untrusted connection. Change that. Okay, so we trust that cert. Logged in there. All right, so the last thing that we need to do now is come back over here and go to System Deployment. Now that we're using certificates that both devices are going to trust, we're going to go ahead and add ISE 2 to our deployment. We're going to by default be in standalone mode. Give it a moment here. There's ISE 1. Okay, we're going to make it primary and save. Okay, so our save is finished. So now we're going to go back to the deployment list. Click on register. We're going to register an ISE node. I'm going to register ISE 2. Plug in his name there. And actually what's happened here, let's go back to certificates just real quick. When I imported this AD certificate, it was not the right one. So let's go ahead and, oops, let's cancel that. Let's go ahead and import the correct one. That's right here, cert new 1. And let's actually go do this over here as well so we won't have any issues. Okay, come back over here to 1. Let's go to our deployment again. Let's register an ISE node. All right, so we're going to configure the secondary node as the secondary admin. We'll make it the primary monitoring. Kind of offset the load a little bit there. It's going to act as a policy service node as well. We'll register. This will take a few minutes in most cases. Okay, so now we see the node was registered successfully and data is going to be synced. There's ISE 2. The node status right now has the in progress indicator, so it's currently syncing the configuration, and as soon as that's all done, we'll have a green node status. That's what we'll be looking for here, and we can go ahead and go on with our ISE deployment.